Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. Please visit our website, cscatlanta.org, for a complete list of live and recorded events. We invite you to sign up for our newsletter to stay connected to all future programs.
Hi, everybody. A lot of new faces out here. That's awesome. Thank you guys for coming today. Appreciate that. So today we are making a couple recipes. Lauren wanted me to make falafel today. Made me a little nervous because as I'm thinking about falafel, I've never baked falafel because I always think about these classes as being like healthy and we want to bake things and not really deep fry. But the more I thought about it, I said, oh, I'm going to come in early and do a little test batch on them. So I did. They turned out pretty good. You guys are always my guinea pigs for new things. Anyway, so that's really awesome. I am going to fry a bit today too, just so we can do a little comparison side by side. I think it'll be pretty good. Traditionally, falafel, we fry falafel, right? And we'll talk more about that. We're also going to make just a basic tahini sauce. You guys can follow along. I have recipes here. It's just tahini. I bought this Soon Tahini. I've never used this brand before, but we'll check it out. Lemon, water, garlic, and sea salt. So it's pretty simple. That'll go over top of our falafel, right? And then we're going to make tabbouleh. Tabbouleh is a salad with bulgur wheat. I took the liberty of cooking off the bulgur wheat so it would be cold for us. It's a salad we want to eat cold. But bulgur wheat's easy to cook. It's, 1 to 1.5 water to 1 cup of bulgur will get you what you need. It's really easy, really simple. Lemon juice, garlic cloves, sea salt, coriander, chopped parsley, lots of herbs. This salad is mostly herbs and cucumber, a little tomato. I'm going to throw in some mint and dill as well and scallions. We're going to use the mint and dill. I don't know about you guys. Sometimes when I buy dill and mint, I don't necessarily use it all. It just ends up wilting in my crisper drawer and I forget about it. So I was thinking about something that we could make where we could utilize all the herbs up today, and tabbouleh came to my mind. And we'll put some in the falafel. I don't typically put mint in falafel, but why not? We'll give it a shot, right? I like it really herbaceous with lots of parsley and things like that too. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. We're going to go ahead and start with the falafel today. So it has chickpeas, cilantro, parsley, dill, a little bit of mint like I talked about. I'm going to use scallions. You can use yellow onions as well. Garlic, cumin, coriander, a little cayenne if you like, and some kosher salt. So let's talk about this for a minute. There's a really good recipe out there that inspires me from Serious Eats, and I credit them on the bottom. And what they do, if you make falafel, a lot of times folks use canned falafel. It's already cooked, or canned chickpeas, right? So they're already cooked. But the thing you have to do when you buy canned chickpeas and you want to make falafel, you have to add flour or some sort of binding agent to it because it's not going to hold, right? And it doesn't hold well. And it gets really just gummy, right, in the center. But what we're going to do today is I took chickpeas, I bought dried chickpeas. I soaked them overnight, right? Left them out, soaked them overnight. I strained them this morning when I came in. I dried them out, right, with a towel. They're over here, sitting on a pan, getting nice and dry. And what we're going to do, so they're pretty soft, right? They've absorbed all the water. You basically want them to triple, right, in size, which they have. We're going to put them in a food processor with our herbs and salt and coriander and cumin and all that good stuff and garlic. And we're going to pulse them up and make them fine. We're not going to add flour. And we're going to make that first. We're going to refrigerate it for a little while. We have some time here today, so we're going to go ahead and refrigerate it. And that's going to give that chance for that starch to kind of come out and help hold things together when we fry them. I baked some. So what I did same recipe, right? Followed it along. I was a little worried. I was going to add some flour, but I didn't. I wasn't sure if they'd hold, but they did. You can see them. What I learned was for baking falafel, if you want to bake them and avoid deep frying, I don't know. I typically don't like to deep fry a lot in my house because it does smell up the house a little bit. Then you have to deal with the oil, find a place to put it. I don't know what Lauren's going to make me do with it, but we'll figure that out. But the lesson I learned was for baking falafel, I think what we need to do is we need to blend it just a little bit longer, right? You'll see how coarse it gets when we make our first batch for frying, but we're frying those. So we're frying them in hot heat, right? 375, 325, 350, somewhere in that range. Anything above like 300. So we want to be in that 300 frying range to 350, 375. That's where we want to fry. I'm going to shallow fry. I didn't fill it all the way up, just a small shallow fry. But that high heat is going to really soften up the inside of the falafel and make the outside really crispy. Now, when we bake them, the struggle is getting them crispy on the outside and still cooked on the inside. So that's where I think we need to process them just a little bit longer next time. You'll taste them. They're good. It's a good product, but I think, again, just processing them a little bit longer would definitely help the baking process. So if you want to write that as a note. I baked them at 375. I would think next time I would probably bake them at 400 just to get it a little hotter. Make sure you oil your sheet pan. You want to get some oil on your sheet pan. Or even the spray, right? Maybe you got an olive oil spray. Just go ahead and spray the falafel. Get your oven hot. I would recommend 400. Again, we're learning here together on how to bake falafel. So I would say 400, more process time. Spray them heavy, and I think I would say 10, 15 minutes in the oven. You have to turn them halfway through the baking process. So what I did halfway through, I pulled them out, I turned them over, and baked them again. I'm going to throw them in for a little bit longer just to warm them up when we get close here. But the thing with this falafel, it's barely going to hold together, right? It's going to feel like it's going to fall apart, but I was able to form little balls out of them. I didn't make them super big. You might have had them big falafel before, like in a pita pocket or something like that. Typically, those are probably going to have some kind of binder, in baking soda or flour or both. Chickpea flour is common. There's nothing wrong with a little flour if you're nervous to hold them together, but we're going to try it like this and see what we think. So, and then we will make the tahini sauce and then the tabbouleh, and we'll be ready to go. Okay. Any questions while we get started? Any allergies or anything I need to be aware of? No? Everybody likes everything? Cilantro? All right. Okay. Good. That's awesome. All right. So yeah, the instructions say rinse the chickpeas. So it's really important to get them super dry right after they soaked overnight. So I put them in a bowl, filled them with water, soaked them overnight. Even a little longer would be great. 12 to 24 hours is ideal. So then we're just going to combine the chickpeas with the herbs, scallions, garlic, cumin, coriander, cayenne, pepper, and pulse them. Then we're going to put them in a bowl, put them in the fridge for a little while. We'll make the other things, and then when we're ready at the end, I'll go ahead, we'll make them up, and we'll fry them. I think they're going to be good. So if there's no questions, we will get, yep. You can use canned chickpeas. Yeah, you can. You're going to get a little bit different texture. They're going to be heavier, right? I typically think you're probably going to need a little bit of binder to help hold them together, right? They've lost so when they cook the chickpea, it's lost its starch, right? So now the starch is leached out into the can. We worked with aquafaba for here. That liquid, that has all that starch in it now. Dried bean area. Publix, Kroger. They're called garbanzo beans. Yep. So they're pretty cheap, pretty easy to find. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to give this stuff. I know we're going to process it, but I still like to give things a little bit of head start. My food processor isn't super large. Okay. Throw those in there. Put some chickpeas in there. We may have to do it twice. So again, these have been soaked, right? Yeah. You can pull them apart. All right. Some garlic. Hummus. I have not made hummus here. No. Maybe we will. Yeah. Yeah, I like making hummus. Especially if you're going to take the time to get all these chickpeas ready. You know, hummus is another great thing you can make and have ready to go. It goes well with falafel as well. If you don't want to, you know, eat like pita bread and things like that. All right. While Lauren was entertaining you, I went ahead and added the spices, the salt, the cumin, the coriander. I got some herbs in here, chickpeas, all the things. And we're just going to go ahead and pulse this. When I say pulse, we're just not going to pulverize it, but we are going to process it. We'll probably have more in here than what we need or what we should have, but we're going to go ahead and scrape down the sides with the spatula and work through it. Okay? If you don't have a food processor, you can use a blender. It's kind of hard with a blender. You can hand chop it. You're going to be chopping a lot. What's that tell you? You should need a food processor, right? Meat grinders work. If you got a little cheap meat grinder from the store, they're about 10, 15 bucks. You can grind all this stuff through a meat grinder. That'll work. Mashed potato presser, yeah. It's a good idea. I should try that sometime. Okay. All right. I think we're getting there. It's gonna a little bit more. You want a lot of nice herbs in here. You want them to be pretty green. All right. And we're going to taste it one more time. Awesome. Some nice garlic in there. Okay, so you got this meal like that, right? It's kind of what it looks like. So when we're gonna form them, we're gonna let them sit for a little while, but you can't squeeze them super tight. They will fall apart. But you'll get something like that, right? So there's no flour or anything on that. I think we'll be in pretty good shape. But we're gonna let that sit. Just let it set up for a little bit in our fridge, 15 minutes or so. You can make it a day before as well if you want to. That would be cool. If you have the time, go ahead and set it up, make it the day before, and then you can fry them. Okay? All right. Okay, let's see, tahini sauce, right? We want to make tahini sauce real quick. We can do that. Anybody ever make falafel? I didn't ask. No?
I like them.
You like them? Okay. How about tahini sauce? That's pretty easy, right? You can turn the page over.
How closely are you following your recipes today?
I always follow my recipes. Yeah, I always follow them, right? You guys know I always follow my recipes. But I also look at how many people I have, and then I'm expanding up here as I go, right? So using my knowledge. Thank you, Lauren. Okay. So we are going to use tahini, lemon juice, garlic, and sea salt. Very easy.
Where do you buy tahini?
I got this one at Publix. I think it was over by like soy sauce area and things like that. The question was where do you buy tahini? So you can pretty much get that anywhere. They had a couple different brands. Some are really, the oil will sit on the top. It might not be as emulsified as you like. We'll see what we got here. Yeah, this one.
Do you know what is the one from Trader Joe's?
I have not, no. Good one?
I didn't.
Okay. Trader Joe's.
I
You-
bought one time and I really didn't like it.
Yeah, I've
It's a
had,
different brand and I was like,
there's a lot of different brands out there, and a lot of them I don't like. Some of them are so separated and hard at the bottom. It's like you almost have to cut the plastic to get it out.
so what is tahini made of?
Sesame seeds. Yeah. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tahini. I'm going to squeeze some lemon juice into it. I am going to the garlic. What I want to do is show you guys. I'm going to microplane this garlic. We've talked about the microplane before. That's just going to get that garlic super fine, so I don't have to puree it. A lot of times you'll see recipes where they'll take the garlic and lemon juice and put it in a blender and blend it, right? And then pass it through a strainer into the bowl of tahini to make the tahini sauce. I like to take the microplane and just tap it. It won't be quite as fine, but it's one less piece of equipment that we have to dirty in the kitchen other than our microplane. I think it works pretty well. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get this garlic ready. Yep, and I don't have a thermometer for my oil, so I don't know what. We're going to have to eyeball that. If you don't have a thermometer, you should have one to register your oil to make sure that you got it at the right temperature. Question?
Oh, you go ahead.
I assume you need to get the oil to a high heat. There's certain kinds of oil you recommend.
Yeah, canola's fine. I don't fry a lot, so I mean vegetable oil. I wouldn't spend a lot of money on oil that you're just gonna tear up deep fry. Be pretty expensive too. Yeah. Yeah, avocado oil it's nice, but it is expensive. Yeah. That's a lot to deep fry. You're probably not going to get much use out of it, so. That's interesting. Yeah, okay. All right, so take our tahini. So what's going to happen with this, it's going to get very thick when I start adding the lemon, right? It's going to seize up. And then we just have to slowly add some water into it. You ever play with chocolate and add water to it, melted chocolate, and it gets really tight? That's what's going to happen here. We'll work through that with some water. All right. So microplane. Yep. We're just gonna take that like that.
I once had a patient tell me this crazy story about how she was hiking somewhere, I don't know where, and she met this woman who called herself a witch and told her that the key to health was getting 25 to 30 different plant foods every week. Not servings, but just different kinds. And so she really took that to heart, and definitely, we talk about plant foods and how helpful they are all the time, but I love this recipe because you're getting a lot of those like micro plants, like the different seasonings, the spices, the herbs, garlic, and they're not, we don't consider them fruits and vegetables. Like you're probably not going to eat a full serving of parsley, but you're getting a ton of phytonutrients, a ton of antioxidants from them. So I love a meal like this, or any meal where you can sneak in, a little extra plant food, like the basil hummus. That's a great idea, or put garlic in anything. You're going to get a lot of added benefit.
That's awesome. I bought curly parsley. I usually don't buy curly parsley. But it's okay. It's affordable, right? For something like this, flat leaf parsley, there's two different kinds. Us chefs, we like our fancy flat leaf parsley for most things that we're chopping it up for. But I figured since we're just going to blend it, we're just going to use the curly. And we're going to save some money on Lauren's food bill. She likes when I do that. Yeah. And sometimes we need to do that at home too. Wherever. Yeah, there's actually a pretty significant price difference between the two. Yeah. No, there's a flat leaf parsley, flat leaf Italian parsley. Kind of looks like cilantro, right? It has very flat leaves. They're big and fat. It tastes like parsley. But it's a little more expensive. I mean, it's not like over the top expensive or anything, but for something that you're just gonna blend, I'll buy the curly parsley. It'll be fine. Yes, yeah. I would say that this is a little more pungent, a little bit, compared to the flat leaf. Okay, lemon juice. You can add zest here too if you want. Get our handy dandy lemon juicer. Okay. We're just going to mix that up like that. And you can see, right? There it goes. It's going to start looking like a thick peanut butter, right? It is interesting, isn't it? I'm just going to add some water till we get our consistency that we like. Starts changing colors. You don't want to overwater it because then you might end up with too thin of a tahini sauce. We may need a little more lemon juice. And some more water. And then salt. We're making a lot. So if you're at home following the recipe, it won't nearly be as much water. I think I might have a tablespoon, a quarter cup for 1 cup of tahini. There we go. I don't like it really thick. I like it more on the runny side. We have our cloves. We're gonna add some salt. Now we're going to taste it. Yeah, see, that's about what we want. A little more salt. A little bit more lemon. This will go, we'll drizzle this over top of the falafel. Okay. That's awesome. All right. Has a nice garlic flavor too. I like that. You guys like raw garlic? The bite, yeah, it's nice. It has a good pungent mouthfeel. Yes. So I didn't put a serving size on a tahini sauce because it depends on what, you know. Oh, the falafel balls serving size, that also depends, right? If you're going to make them big or small. Out of that batch, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. About 3 dozen. What I made this morning, yes. Yes. We're making them small, right? Because these, remember, we have to make these small. Because if we make them too big, they're gonna fall apart, right? So what I use to make them is that, like a tablespoon. Or if you got one of the little ice cream scooper things, like a sorbet scooper thing, get one of those. Just a little roll on your hand, you're good to go. That's 1 tablespoon, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, a heaping tablespoon. Yeah. Yeah, heaping tablespoon. Okay, so tahini's ready. The falafel is in the refrigerator. We are going to make tabbouleh, right? So I have the grain that I cooked, the bulgur wheat. I did have a hard time finding that. Farmer's market will have it. There's different types too. There's one that, this one wasn't super fine, but there's one that's really fine. And when I say fine, just a small, really tiny grain. What you can do with that is you can soak that in hot water, kind of like you're making couscous. You don't have to cook it, right? Just soak it in hot water. It's going to absorb the water. It's going to be cooked. This one I had to cook. Okay? So bulgur, you know, is a shelled wheat that's been cooked and then dried. And then we have to cook it again. I think it's from red wheat, winter red wheat. So we cooked that, and then we are going to add lots of herbs. So we're going to do some chopping here. Olive oil, lemon juice, that's our dressing, right? Sea salt, again, coriander is great in there. Lots and lots of parsley, some cucumber, some tomato, some herbs, some scallions, or whatever else you want. And then you refrigerate it and eat it. So any questions on that? No? Okay. So we're going to we'll get chopping. Go ahead, question. I'm going to.
Have you ever tried it with swapping out the grain there with?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. I've seen quinoa, I've seen lentils, I've seen lots and lots of different grains. And if you're struggling to find bulgur, it's fine, right? Just use whatever grain you have. I mean, it's, you know, you can talk about traditions and things like that and cultures, but I mean, I think we live in an age where anything goes now, right? You look on the internet, there's so many different recipes that are interchanged, and I think people struggle to know. I think we're losing a little bit of identity too in our cultures with the way we're working with food because anything does, everything goes now. So, in my opinion, yeah, you can do whatever you want. But it's always good to know in the back of your mind, like, what's tradition versus what I want to do, right? And I know as a chef, we like to teach our staff about things like that, right? Talking about respecting cultures and things. And I don't mean like if you go home and make it with quinoa, you're disrespecting somebody's culture. But I think it's also good for us to know that, oh, it's traditionally made bulgur, where it comes from, yeah, and things like that. So, but that's a good question, yeah. As with all these recipes, and I always talk about, I know we have a lot of new people here today, but I talk about when I cook here, it's always reminding folks to be comfortable in the kitchen. And if you start on a recipe and you go in your pantry and you're like, oh, I don't have cumin to make my falafel, it's okay. Just make it, right? Try it. Change things out. We added mint today. There's nothing wrong with that. We're just trying to use up some herbs and things like that. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Just, don't be so worried about exact measurements or, these recipes, it's a roadmap, right? But when you get in the kitchen or you need to make more for other people or things like that, you can twist the recipes around. One thing I did want to touch on, it is not tomato season, but I did buy these hothouse tomatoes. I know it says diced fresh tomatoes. So normally what I would use is like a summer tomato, some kind of big tomato. I would dice it up. Roma tomatoes work well, Italian tomatoes. But for this purpose, we want to eat something that tastes good. I went with these little tomatoes. I'm just going to cut those in half and throw those in there. Little cherry tomatoes work well too. But I don't know. We tend to grow tomatoes year round, I guess, and they're, in the wintertime, tomatoes they're just not that great. They don't have any flavor. These aren't bad. These little ones are pretty good. They're pretty ripe too, so that's pretty nice. Any other questions? No. Okay.
Just a side note on the bulgur, to make a case for it, 1 cup of bulgur has about 8 grams of fiber in it.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's a huge amount of fiber for a grain. To put it in perspective, rice is going to give you, brown rice is going to give you maybe 2 grams of fiber. White rice will give you less than that. And so for women, that kind of like fiber number most of us are shooting for is 25 grams a day. So that's a cup of bulgur gets you a third of the way there on your goal for the day.
That's awesome.
A quinoa will give you, a good amount as well. And the lentil certainly will. But this is a very underutilized grain, I think. I mean, even I don't really use it that much. And this is good inspiration. Is in what? How much fiber is in quinoa?
High protein.
Yeah, it's probably. I will Google and get back to you.
That's awesome.
But you're right; it absolutely does have a good amount of protein in it.
All right, so we're gonna add some cilantro. Everybody likes cilantro. That's crazy. Okay. Normally somebody has an aversion to cilantro. Yeah, it has like a soapy taste on their mouth. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But one time I read that there are some people that it's like a chemical reaction in their bodies. That's why
It's genetics, yeah.
the cilantro
Yeah.
for some people.
And I've heard like as high as 50% of the population has that genetic. So I'm just picking the mint right now. But that's interesting with cilantro. Yeah, I'm surprised. We have a pretty big class here. So yeah, I'm just going to chop these herbs up. I have dill and mint, and then lots and lots and lots of parsley are going to go in here.
And to answer your question on the quinoa, it's the same amount of fiber. So both are going to give you a great amount of fiber.
Awesome.
But they'll probably differ in some of their other micronutrients like zinc, manganese. Either one's going to give you just different nutrients.
Throwing everything in there. We're going to toss it around. We got our parsley. You will not be confused with the taste. I would say they're probably in the same family, but completely different flavors. Yeah. Just giving this a good chop.
Smells like we're in the garden section.
It does. You can smell the parsley, right? Yeah. All right, we're just going to finish it off. If you're working with a sharp knife, it'll make your life a lot easier in the kitchen as well. All right, that's a lot of herbs. Then we're going to add, so we have our cucumbers, tomatoes, mint, dill. We use up all our scallions. We don't have scallions. And we have zest and juice of a lemon. So we're going to go ahead and microplane again our lemon. And then we'll squeeze it as well. And then a little bit of salt. Okay. Squeeze that in there. That's our dressing. Or it will be. May need a little more lemon. This is quite a bit. I planned for a lot. All right. Oh, and olive oil as well. So we're going to give this a toss. And then we're going to add our, massage it a little bit, especially the parsley, like we do our kale. Add that. So you can see it's a lot more herbs than bulgur, right? We don't need a lot of bulgur in there. Or maybe we do, to get our 8 grams of fiber. Yeah, you can see that. That looks good. I have a feeling it's going to need a little more lemon juice and salt. Measure everything, right? I know that's what you're thinking. Okay. Let's see where we're at here. Good. Okay. Warm those up. Okay. Clean as you go. All right, ready to fry some falafel? Ready or not? Here we go. Okay. Here's our mix. Okay. I put down a paper towel just to absorb some of the grease from the falafel. Keep that. I'm not going to use gloves. We're going to fry. We're okay. I need my hands for this. So I'll show you. So yeah, heaping, spoonful. It's nice. Let's see where we're at here. I don't know if we're ready. Okay. Can make them a little bigger. Yeah, I have the baked falafel that we talked about earlier. Some of these are going to break too, so don't freak out. If one breaks or two breaks, it's okay. It's going to happen to you. Don't worry about it. We're still going to have to go in there and nudge them around and turn them. But yeah, so I baked some falafel earlier, and I'm just warming those up. That way you guys can see the difference between. You might smell parsley. You smell parsley over there. Yeah. These are fun to eat. They're good in pita if you have pita pockets. And good pita is hard to find, though. Pita to me is always breaks really easy. You got to find a really good. What's that? Use naan, yeah. Yeah, that's my go-to is a naan bread. You can get like little naan bread. Those work really well. Let's see what we got here. Not quite. They're frying up good though. Yeah, naan bread is definitely the way to go. More flavor, yeah. The oil's going to cool down. I'm going to try to, remember, I'm eyeballing this oil here, so. How many people we have today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, big class. Great. Lots of frying. Yeah, so let's think about that. What would an air fryer do? That's pretty cool.
It would crisp them up.
Right?
And have far less oil if you just use a meat stove.
Yep. Anybody have an air fryer? They're pretty popular now, right? I don't own one yet, but I went home to see my folks a couple weeks ago, and my dad was going to make chicken wings, and he put them in the air fryer, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this is going to work. They were so good. They got so crispy, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. So. Yeah, the only thing I know, you can't get a lot of, like, if you're doing wings, he couldn't get a lot of wings in there. But the ones he did they were super crispy. It was amazing. I like chicken wings. I think he had to put a little water in the bottom of it or something like that. I don't remember, but
There are different sizes, and you can regularly
Goodwill. Ah, I didn't think about that.
Way different sizes. You can get them that big, you can get them that.
Hi. We're on time, right? Okay. I'm just frying falafel.
Well, is there any more steps the online folks need to see, or are you just flying along?
I'm frying falafel, man. You guys can see there's one in there I just turned, nice and brown. That's what we're looking for. I like to turn them with a fork. It's just a lot easier. These are small, so probably 2-3 minutes in here. Yeah, you can see. That's nice. The online folks saw the baked falafel. Yep, saw our salad looks great.
Nicole, can you shoot in the chat real quick, make sure none of our online folks have any questions? Because we won't make them watch.
Painstakingly watch me.
That's not fair.
That's true. I'm sorry, online folks, but I'm glad you're here. Yeah, one broke. There you go. See? It happens. We can eat the broken ones, yeah. Just got to be gentle with them. Again, if you feel like you can't do it, add a little flour. We're not going to shame you. Yeah.
Folks all good online, Nicole? Are we still giving it a second? Yeah. All righty, well, Q, we can wrap up online.
Thank you guys for...
Thanks for joining us online.
No, that was mean. What we can do, we can actually start serving the salad and the baked falafels. I have those.
Get like one bake.
Yeah, for now, and I'm just going to keep frying them. We also have the tahini sauce, so we can plate down here.
Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. If you're interested in other live or recorded programs, please visit the online program tab of our website, cscatlanta.org, or follow us on Facebook. We'll be sharing additional information on upcoming programs.